Now loading podcast, period.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Podcast Period, the internet's stupidest podcast. My name is Ben, and with me today, as always, is my co-host David.
What's up, peeps?
So, we've actually got a normal episode for you today. It's been 2 episodes, maybe technically 3 since we've had a normal one.
In like 6 weeks.
Yeah. I've been a little late on putting the episodes out. That's my bad. It's a combination of work and everything else. Life. We'll say life as a summary for now. But hopefully
to be fair, I didn't remind him to send me what I needed to finish the episode.
Usually I'm pretty good about doing it anyway, but these past few weeks have been something else, let me tell you. Starting a new job really does it to you. Anyway, we're back on track. Like we said last episode, our next one. No, not our next one. Yes, our next one. Our next episode will be our 21 Pilots album review, the Scaled and Icy. So, be excited for that. But for now, we're going to do a regular episode. We've got a ton of articles, mostly tech-related, from around the internet, aka Ars Technica, because that's the only website that supports it. Dark mode when you're not logged in. Anyway, thank you, Ars Technica, for doing that. And thank you for having such good reporting that we can go through and pick the pick of the litter, as it were, on these articles. So anyway, we've got that. We've got some discussion topics, or a discussion topic, I suppose, a pretty broad one, and then crap ton of trailers. So regular episode. Let's get into it. Our first article is kind of a follow-up to one that we did a while ago. I can't remember the episode number, but I know we specifically talked about it because I did a Photoshop with this phone in it for the thumbnail image. Microsoft Surface Duo has been put at 50% off, so it's gone down from $1,400 to $700. Oof.
Now, the big question for you, my good friend, would you even pay $700 for this?
See, that's the thing. I mean, it looks fine, but I have to ask myself, do I really want and or need a foldable phone? And if I'm being completely honest with myself, that answer is 100% no. The concept I've always thought is cool, but I don't know. I'm not rough on my phones by any means, but accidents happen, and I feel like if I drop this thing, I mean, you're not gonna find a phone case or a screen protector that fits the damn thing. So if you drop it, it's done. I've been very lucky with this one. I haven't even put a screen protector on this phone. It's just straight up screen and the case. And I've been good. Of course, the case is raised, so that helps a lot too.
That does help a lot. I don't know what it is about it. I think it was a bad batch of screen protectors, honestly. I've never dropped a phone and broken it. I did accidentally roll over my new phone after visiting him, of all people. I'd just gotten it, then went and changed the oil in my car and didn't realize it fell out of my pocket. The screen was face down on the concrete, rolled over it with my big heavy self, and because it was face down on the concrete, there was some kind of pebble that pressed up into the screen, hit the screen protector, cracked the screen protector, and then proceeded to crack the screen on my phone.
Oops.
So that one didn't save it, but I don't think it could have, just because of what I did to it. But then I've cracked 2 more screen protectors on this device. but not the screens. But after I used that last one from that particular package, and I had to get the one that you ordered the last time because I had cracked it at work that day, and it's like, could you order this for me? Because I don't know if I'm going to get it in time before I have to be down there. And I didn't want to be that long without it, given that I had just cracked it somehow. I don't even know how I did it. Like, I didn't drop it or anything. I just pulled it out of my pocket, and there was a crack in it. I was like, okay. But none of them have cracked since, and that was well over a year ago. So I think it was just a bad batch.
Probably.
I would be so afraid to use this without a screen protector.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Like
100%.
this phone? I'd break it.
That's the main reason for me wanting to stay away from foldable phones, like, at all.
Exactly.
Like, the Z Flip is cool, the new Razor is cool, but there's no way to protect the screen. I mean, granted, normally when you're carrying it around in your pocket or whatever, it's going to be folded, so the screen is going to be protected anyway. But there's always the chance that, because, I mean, everybody's done it. You're holding your phone and you, like, maybe fall asleep or something, or you accidentally mishandle it.
I've done that.
And it falls.
Yep.
It falls. You know, it's a part of life.
Or you're holding it above your face and you've dropped it on your face. I've done that. Usually nodding off.
I've done that, but I don't normally do it because I usually hold it on my side or watch it while I'm on my side instead.
Yeah.
So I don't like the sensation of my phone hitting my face and then waking me up.
And then waking you up. I've done it though. But then, you could drop it and then it might not land on the pillow or the bed. It might fall onto the floor. And if you got hardwood floors or tile, then, well, I mean, poof, you're done.
Yeah, this thing would be done for. It would be gone. You wouldn't be able to see the screen through all the cracks.
No, I'm with you. You know what? I don't know if sometimes if I'm ADD or not. I would fidget with this and open and close it to the point of breaking it from fatigue.
Yeah, I probably would too. Honestly.
Just knowing myself, I would do something like that.
Oh, yeah, because I used to do that with my flip phone all the time.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure you saw me, because I had a flip phone for the longest time before I ever had a smartphone. And even then, my first smartphone was a piece of shit, so... Anyway, we're besides that point now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would buy this. Like, if... I feel like it would have to be 75% off before I was going to say,
cut it in half again and get it to $350, and then would you be okay?
Yeah, I would probably $350. I could see myself doing that.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Okay. Let's move on to our next topic, shall we?
Yeah, I think we criticized it enough the first time, and we've sealed it. The coffin has been shut.
We've definitely nailed the coffin on that one.
Alrighty, so our next topic at hand is, it's going to sound like it's late to the party just because you're going to hear this after the resolution has been taken care of, but it's kind of
the nature of this show.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Unfortunately,
we're going to be, if you're getting the latest news from us, you're way behind. Let's be honest. We're making this show because we like talking about this stuff, not because we think that people are going to come to our breaking news for this. Anyway.
This is true. So, and did you actually hear anything about this after I'd mentioned it to you, or were you guys largely unaffected?
I didn't notice anything around it. So here's the thing. I was going to mention it to you, but I think I forgot about it. I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, but I went to go get gas after we talked about it because I was a little bit under a quarter of a tank. And I stopped by a gas station near my my house, one that I wouldn't necessarily normally go to, but it was on my way home. There was no pumps open. They were all out of service. But here's the thing. I went to a gas station not even a minute or two down the road, the one that's like right across from my apartment.
Mm-hmm.
All the gas was there, all the pumps were open, nothing was sold out. So I'm thinking maybe that gas station was just shut down or not all the way functional yet. But I'm pretty sure I've gone there before. So
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
what probably happened, and for those who have figured it out by what he just said, there was a massive hack on the Colonial Pipeline that just happens to serve pretty much everything from Texas up to Tennessee, and then I think Kentucky too, and then east. So there's like 14 states along the East Coast that get served by this particular pipeline, and it ends up dealing with almost 45% of the petroleum products in the eastern half of the US. So it's a pretty big deal. And they got ransomware attacked on Friday, last Friday. And they broke the news Sunday that there was going to be a shutdown on it. They did this to protect and preserve the rest of their system because they didn't exactly know what was going on. So, in long-term issue or long-term results, it really would have been a problem had it had happened longer because they got it resolved pretty fast. By the time they broke the news, they'd already said they'd hope to have it up by the weekend. So it was only going to be down like a week, which in their estimates and most of the petroleum experts' estimates is only basically one cycle's worth of lost time as far as delivery and replenishment goes. So, of course, people did the dumbest things and they literally bought everything that they could and they ran the local stations dry. And what probably happened is the local station got ran dry and there's literally like a shipment coming like the next day
Could be.
because there wasn't a shortage because of the pipeline being down. There was a shortage because of idiots using
But see, that's why I was
everything.
confused because there was this other gas station. There was nothing wrong. It wasn't even busy.
And
I
maybe they had
drove right up
just
in there.
gotten their gas like that
Maybe
day.
that's true. Maybe.
And by yesterday, they'd already announced that this was up and running again. So, like, had nobody panic bought, it would have been fine. But they did everything from, like, I've seen Lowe's buckets being used as gas cans, obviously, buckets. I've seen photos of people using trash bags and
Grocery bags.
grocery
Yep.
bags, which
Mm-hmm.
is going to kill somebody.
That is true Florida man material right there. Like that's man. That's legit. Like stupid Florida people.
Jesus
Like
Christ.
honestly.
Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
I live in this state and I grew up in this state and the things that some people do here just amaze me. Like honestly,
uh,
there's a
yeah.
reason Florida man is a meme.
So the bad part now, because the shortage really wasn't a shortage. It was just people panic buying. And if they hadn't done that, you never would have noticed anything because it's already up and running. And if anything gets low, they'll have it replenished before it becomes an issue. So who cares, right? Well, it came out that it was paid, as in they paid the ransom with 75 Bitcoin, which at the time, because it dropped afterwards, but at the time was worth about 5 million US dollars. So they paid the hackers, which has been blamed on the dark web company DarkSide, which is acting like a ransomware for profit corporation, basically. So
Okay.
they're explicitly saying that we're not in this to cause disruption or wreak havoc on lives. We're just in it for the money, which is great.
Well, at least they're honest, I guess.
Awesome. Wonderful.
The best thing about this article that you linked me that I'm reading, this Bloomberg one, it says that once they received the payment, the hackers provided the operator with a decrypting tool to help restore its disabled computer network. The tool was so slow that the company continued using its own backups to help restore the system. Why even pay the $5 million? Why would you even think about that if you already had backups? Like, legit, what is your computer system in an oil pipeline doing every day that a backup from like a week or two ago wouldn't suffice? Like, really?
Dump the entire system and load whatever backup you had. If you're doing it correctly, you should have had one within the last week.
Mm-hmm.
And what could have possibly changed that wouldn't suffice right then and there?
That's what I'm saying.
What would you have to change to make it work?
What is an oil pipeline doing that you couldn't use a backup from like a week ago? Or even longer, honestly.
I don't know. They added 50 million new lines, and they needed the new map spin.
Right. That's what it was.
That's exactly what.
That's why they ended up using their backups anyway. That's so stupid. Oh my god, these people.
But not only
we need to get boomers out of the corporations. Like, for real. This is some idiot executive that was like, no, just pay him the $5 million. We'll get our stuff back. We have a backup from a week ago. Why not just use that? No, it's only $5 million. What?
They were citing concerns of and concerns and pressures of not having adequate supply to the East Coast region. Because it's not just gas that they serve. It was also other petroleum products like jet fuel and things like that. Okay. And you didn't
you ended
get
up
any
doing
benefit.
The damn thing anyway.
Exactly.
It's so dumb. It's so...
So this just opens up the door to like everybody else demanding money for this same crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, thanks so much for giving them the money. I really appreciate that, because now they're just going to keep doing it.
It's amazing. It's too good. You can't make this up. You really can't.
No, and the sad thing is the same thing happened a few years ago. It wasn't a hack. It was a spill. And they were going to have to shut it down to fix the leak. And people did the same thing then. I'm pretty sure you were up here at that time, too, the last time that we had idiots in our area buying all the damn gas.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Like, come on. Whatever. It's done. It's over with. I filled up Monday before I heard about this, and they were already out of premium and plus. Thank goodness I didn't need it. And then I go and fill up today, and everything's back to normal. Even the sign was funny. The sign said diesel is back. It's like, well, okay.
That is beautiful. Oh my god.
Help us out, please.
So, beyond that stupidity, let's move on to some other... I don't know if I would call this stupidity, because it's honestly a decent question. So, GitHub has reversed their takedown of the reverse engineered GTA 3 and Vice City code. Honestly, I don't know why Take-Two would care that much, considering they sell... What are these games now? Like 10, 20 years old? Something like that?
Something like that.
Has to be. And beyond that, this is reverse engineered source code. So it's not like this guy hacked into Take-Two or Rockstar and copied their source code and then posted it on GitHub. This is a legit reverse engineering of the original source code.
Which is legal.
Exactly, which is 100% legal. But you also have to think that it's still something that's copyrighted by Take Two. So you have to wonder, yes, the source code is legal because it doesn't contain any code originally used by Take Two or Rockstar or whoever. But the GTA branding and everything is still a trademark of Rockstar and or Take Two. So how would this fall as far as that goes? I mean, neither of us are legal experts, obviously, but I'm interested in seeing where you land on this.
I'm going to apologize because I started reading and I didn't quite hear exactly how you phrased it, and I have a feeling the phrasing is important. So could you please restate your question?
Okay, so the question is, while yes, the reverse engineering of the source code doesn't contain any original source code from Take-Two or Rockstar,
Huh?
the GTA branding is still trademarked by Rockstar slash Take-Two. So how would you think that that falls as far as copyright goes? Because, I mean, when you repackage the source code, you're going to get technically the same executable with the same branding and everything like that. So,
I think this ends up falling into the issue of intellectual properties. There is things that you could do to re-engineer or reverse engineer the source code and get the same functionality or the same design of the game, but you end up with the same characters and you end up with the same IP. So let's say you just did it for the mechanics and then put a different skin on it.
mm-hmm.
You lose that issue of the intellectual property, the copyrights of the Rockstar logo or anything else within the game. If you like rebranded and repackaged it into something completely different, I'd feel like there'd be a lot less of an issue there. Again, we're not legal experts, but as far as the functionality of the game goes, I don't really see how you can hold on to their copyright claims on that and say, well, you figured out how the game mechanics work, or you figured out how our physics engine was working, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now you can't replicate it in any other game. That's kind of unfair, especially when you put in the work to do it. You didn't
Yeah.
steal it. You actually created it on your own. But you end up, I think it's IP that ends up being the issue. The
Yeah. Well,
characters and the look and
I
whatnot.
think you're right, but at the same time, considering that he's not selling the code or anything and it can be freely repackaged and repurposed by anybody, I would think that they would probably have, a case as far as the GTA branding goes, like we were saying, but everything else, there's nothing they can do. I mean, unless they can prove that he did something like that, which clearly he didn't.
Yeah. I also think at some point you'd have to look into and take into consideration um, artistic freedom
Yeah,
and things like that. Like at some point, that sometimes can go around copyright claims and whatnot, free use rights and things like that.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
this isn't a for-profit work. This is let's just say it's a creative artwork.
yeah.
At some
So it's
point,
kind of
you
like
lose the copyright claim to that.
it's kind of like the Super Mario 64 PC port that came out like a year ago or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. I actually have it on my, not this computer, but on my laptop. It runs amazing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's what, a 25-year-old game at this point or something like that, but it's crazy how good it runs for that old of a game on, such new hardware and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And it's widescreen and it loads insanely quickly. I feel like if they're using the source code or the reverse engineered source code for stuff like that, for like if there's a way, if there's not a way that you can get it like a Linux port or like some obscure or a port to some obscure platform that nobody's developing for anymore, then go for it. Whatever. Obviously, the whole point is you're not going to be selling it, so
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I think that's cool, and I'm glad that GitHub kind of sided with this dude on this.
Yeah.
The article does say that Take Two hasn't. All right, let's move on, shall we?
I didn't think I'd actually have anything positive to say, or at least positive news to bring
Mm-hmm.
about Intel for a long time, just because of how things have been going and the track of everything, especially in the semiconductor world, just you can't get it. This is actually interesting. They're claiming, now this is claims, there's been no independent reviews or anything like that. So this could be a big load of horse manure, and we'll not know until it's been independently fact checked.
Mm-hmm.
They're claiming that their new Tiger Lake H CPUs for laptops are going to beat the 5000 series from Ryzen. So they're specifically saying that the 11980 HK, good God, I wish they'd start with a new
980 HK.
Yeah, it gets to be a mouthful after a while. Is beating the Ryzen 9 5900HX by 11 to 26%, which isn't necessarily peanuts, which is what
No,
we've been seeing, at
I mean
least
a
as far as their
25% improvement is quite a bit. I mean that's I don't remember how big the jump from the 900 series to the the 9 series to the 10 series for Nvidia was. Was that a
That was a pretty big jump.
that had to have been more than 25%, yeah?
In some cases, they were like jumping up 2 tiers. Like the 1060 was basically competing with the 980. So they jumped up 2 tiers worth of performance within one generation.
Yeah.
So there
Well,
was
this isn't
pretty
quite
big
that, but
jumps.
it's still impressive. I mean, just think of, 125% of something. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's nice, and you know what? It's something that they need because
Oh god, yeah.
they have not been able to do the same thing on desktop. So the question would become, well, how do you think they're doing this, or what kind of leverage do they think they're going to be getting on mobile that they can't get on desktop? And the answer to that is simple. They finally got something on 10 nanometer. So while their new desktop series is still on 14 nanometers, which at this point for Intel is
Plus.
yes, which at this point for Intel is toast. There is nothing left. And in some cases, it actually got worse with 11th gen. Even with the new architecture, they finally changed the architecture, which, great, but it was supposed to be for a new design. I think they were using it for 10. Pretty sure they were supposed to be a 10 nanometer design that they backported to 14. So I think it ended up hindering it more than it helped. And there's just no more room. There's no more cores. They had to lose cores, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no more speed. And the IPC
If they want to get
help.
any more performance out of 14 nanometer, they're literally going to have to make the chips bigger.
Yeah.
Like physically bigger.
They would have to go to a physically bigger die size.
Mm-hmm.
And make a bigger chip. Then they could do it because then they could get more cores out of it. But the only way they're going to be able to do that is to spread out the heat. And then you also have to consider the power increase as well. Because they're at the limit for that as well, too. So, I mean, okay, so they finally got something on 10 nanometer. It looks like it's going to work. We'll see. They're 8-core chips for the the 11980, the 11900, and the 11800, and then the i5 11400 and the 11260, all with H's at the end. Will have 6 cores. So we've got 6 and 8 core chips coming out, and I'm assuming
all with hyper-threading.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm also assuming that this is probably going to have their XE or whatever they're calling it, the new graphics as well.
Z graphics or
Yeah,
whatever.
the Z graphics, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
So yay, they're gonna have Thunderbolt 4 and Wi-Fi 6E as well on the new Tiger Lake chips. So they're getting new features and
a Wi-Fi 6 router, but
yeah, well,
coulda, shoulda, woulda on that.
putting the cart before the horse in this case. But
Yeah.
hey, at least when you upgrade that router, you'll have a device capable of using it, right?
True.
So yay, they got something.
Good thing I have no
coming.
plans on to upgrade my router anytime soon.
I have still not upgraded to full gigabit routers in everything in my house. I only have the one. The other Wi-Fi router, which doesn't really act as a Wi-Fi router. It does, because there's certain devices at this end of their house that are obviously going to get a better connection. None of them are going to benefit gigabit Wi-Fi. So it's just running 100 megabits, which is perfectly fine for 4K streaming anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
The main router supports the computers. They have the full gigabit to it to support our internet speed, and that's all that needs it. So why do I upgrade? I don't. When it dies, I'll change it. Until then, forget it. It's not worth it.
All right, let's move on to our next topic here. We've got, I don't think we talked about this, but I thought it was interesting anyway. So it seems like a while ago, Roku and Google were having issues trying to update their service contracts or whatever for YouTube TV. So they ended up not reaching an agreement. YouTube TV fell off the Roku App Store, and now Google has added it back in via the regular YouTube app, which they still have on there until, I believe, December. Yeah, the YouTube contract does not expire until December, so they have until December to renegotiate that and potentially get YouTube TV back up. But that's funny. I just thought it was very funny that they just shoved an entire app into the YouTube app and was like, screw you.
You know what? Okay, I'm not supporting Google here. Get over it. Both of you get over it.
Let's be honest here. Google can pay whatever Roku wants them to pay.
Yes.
Also, though, why are we still in an age where companies have to negotiate contracts? Like, maybe they're doing some sort of revenue share or something like that. But I don't understand why. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not thinking about it right.
This is one of those things that doesn't quite make sense to me either. I'm with you. I
always associated these contract things with, like, cable channels.
Yes. And I'm assuming that this is a relic and an ongoing thing from the bygone era. Not that it's gone yet, but the classic bygone era of cable networks being the conduit to provide the TV networks a conduit to those customers. They have to funnel their services through something. They can't broadcast it on their own. CBS or TNT or whoever. Some of them broadcast on their own and some of them don't. They have to have a media to get to their customers. The cable companies were that media. Is this leftovers from that era? Like, it goes through the internet. So it's not Roku that's having to host it, but is it because
Yeah.
it's on their platform? Is it like maintenance things that they have
That's
to do to
that's the only
support
thing that I could
this?
think of, like that it's on the platform, but I don't even see what maintenance they would have to do. Like I would feel like it would be on Google to make sure that everything is updated and then it works correctly.
That would be
So,
my take too. I also just don't think there's a reason that YouTube needed to have a separate YouTube TV app either. Like it's kind of
I
BS.
mean, I can understand where you're coming from because it would be nice just to have one app. You know, you
One app.
download YouTube, you sign in once. If you happen to sign up for YouTube TV, you just get this extra option unlocked.
Yeah.
But I think there's also people that don't want to have to open up one app just to get to another app. You know, if you want to go watch YouTube TV, maybe you don't want to necessarily have to go through YouTube and click that one or two extra buttons to get to YouTube TV, you know?
That's a fair assessment. I you
I
know
I
what?
agree with you.
Whatever.
I feel like the one app solution would be a little bit better, but I can also see a legitimate argument for the other side.
Yeah, I can't too. I get it. And I will say this, they did do a good job of distinguishing the color of the apps as well. At least on the Amazon store, the YouTube TV is a black square, and then the regular YouTube is a white square. So they're color
Mhm.
oriented differently, and it's not that big of a deal. And whatever, I get it. I just love how they just went around them, like you said, like, oh, screw you, we'll just do it another way because we can. So you don't want to play
Oh
ball, then
man.
fine, we'll just cut you out entirely. I love the free devices threat. Like
Oh
that's
yeah, that's hilarious.
that's like, okay, Roku, you don't want to play by our ball. We'll just sidestep you entirely. We'll give them all a Google Chromecast or some BS or whatever it is that they're threatening to ship out.
Oh, okay. So if you read further down in the article, it looks like the biggest reason for the rift between the two is this codec that Google's trying to use on YouTube, and I guess YouTube TV as well. So it's a royalty-free video codec that would save a ton of bandwidth, but you have to have the right hardware capabilities in order to do that. And I think maybe that Roku doesn't necessarily have that hardware built in on all of their current stuff. I'm sure
Mm,
I'm sure on the higher end stuff they would have the hardware necessary because I mean you're paying upwards of what $60 to $100 or something like that depending on what you bought. But I could see it being maybe a little bit more iffy on the like the stream stick or whatever.
yeah, we've had this issue and we've had this discussion before with Roku devices in particular. There was another, I can't remember who it was, but there was another thing that was going to have to stop running off of older Roku devices, and I think it was because of a hardware issue as well. They just would not be supported anymore. I can't remember what company it was.
I feel like it was maybe Hulu or something like
I
that.
think it was Hulu or it was Netflix.
One of the two,
It was
yeah.
one of those two. So that's, you know what? That's an issue that's just an issue of eventually you're going to have to replace your hardware.
Yeah.
It's just it sucks when it's one company that's forcing a change. It's not like it's an industry-wide standard that everybody's got to move on. This is the
Well,
new thing.
the video codec says it's supported by Google, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Microsoft, Samsung, Intel, Facebook, ARM, Hulu, and a ton of other companies is what the article says. Let me see how big the list is.
Oh, well, if
Yeah,
that's the
there's a
case,
ton. There's a ton. Huawei, Nvidia, Mozilla, uh, AMD, Adobe, Hulu, like I said before, VLC, Vimeo, a ton of companies. Samsung, ridiculous, a ridiculous amount of companies.
hmm. Well, crap. I don't know. I guess it just depends when and how fast. Like, if
Yeah,
you've had one for 5 years and you paid $40 for it, you got your money's
that's
worth
the
out of it.
thing. I wouldn't feel all that bad for people who have had the same box for going on 5, 6 years. I mean, yes, it sucks to have to buy a new thing, but let me tell you, here lately, Roku has made migration between things so easy. I so I had the streaming stick before, and then I got a Roku TV for our bedroom. And once you sign in with your Roku account, it downloads all the apps and whatever accounts that it can sign into for you, it does. Like my Hulu account was automatically signed in.
Mm,
And then when I got this new Roku out here, did the same thing. Same thing. Very easy to set up a new one. So I will give them that they have had it they've made it so easy to move on. It's not even funny.
okay. Okay. Well, then I give them points for that because Amazon
And
doesn't
like I
do that.
said, their newer stuff probably already has hardware support for it. They're probably just more worried about the people because not everybody's going out and buying their top end box,
No.
and not even that. Not even the fact that that's not where their main supply line at this point is anyway. I think they're getting most of their money from ads now, but even still, if you're more than likely, if you're buying a Roku, you're not necessarily going out and getting the top end thing if you don't have to. Like I got this one because I wanted it to be 4K
Mm-hmm.
because my TV is 4K, so
Yep.
that'd be kind of dumb not to do that, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean if you're still rocking a 1080p TV for your bedroom or whatever, just get one of those $30 streaming sticks and stick it in.
Yep.
Can't blame you, not at all.
No. Can't blame me at all. And you know what? And some of them have actually gone to the point where they're putting the Amazon did this. The original 4K Fire Stick has not been updated since
Mhm.
2018. So it's a 3-year-old design at this point. They redesigned the regular Fire Sticks, and I think they came out with a new one called Fire Stick Lite. And I'm not really sure what the designation between the two of them is. I think the regular Fire Sticks come with the Alexa enabled voice remote, and
So
the
if
Fire Stick Lights just have the regular standard remote. I think.
I think that's one difference. I also think that the light is only 1080p and the regular one is now 4K, if I'm remembering correctly.
I don't know if the regular one is 4K, but I know it probably is or probably could be. It's the same hardware as the original 4K model. So, the 4K model that is 3 years old, the new, I'm pretty sure it's just 1080p, but the new Fire Stick and the Fire Stick Lite share that same hardware. So now you don't even have to have the high end one when it comes to Amazon to get the faster features or the whatever because they use the same hardware. So theoretically, it should be able to do 4K. And whether or not they locked it down, I don't know. I don't really care. Do you find anything that says what it is?
I'm looking at it now.
Knowing them,
This
it's
is
locked down to
2020
1080p.
release.
Yeah, 2020 release is the new
Uh,
one.
if you're interested in 4K streaming, we recommend the the Fire TV Stick 4K.
Mm.
So I suppose the Fire TV Stick 3rd gen. Okay, so yeah, this one is only 1080p too. And then the Fire Stick 4K, which is apparently the same design as 2018,
Mm-hmm.
is the only one that does 4K and that has that special remote.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So in their case, you don't even have to have. You're not getting anything different,
Not really. No.
which is weird.
You're getting you're getting basically the same thing between the Fire Stick Lite and the regular Fire Stick besides the remote. That's it.
Probably why they came up with that SKU,
Yeah.
just to give people the option, because they're very proud of those dang Fire Stick remotes that have the Alexa integration enabled, because those things themselves, I think, cost almost the same amount as the Fire Sticks do. Like, the remote is basically the same price as a Fire Stick, which is ridiculous. It might be $10 cheaper. And I was going to get one thinking it'd be cheap because the battery cover has sucked since day one on my particular remote, and it falls off way too easily. But no, we charge almost the same amount. I was like, I'm not buying another one. I just bought a $6 silicone case to put on it. Keeps the battery from coming off, and
There you go.
now it's not black, so I won't lose it as often. I got neon orange just to make sure I wouldn't lose it.
There you go. Can't beat that.
Nope.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that whole thing goes. I like we've been saying, I think it's a definite possibility that Roku's new SKUs can do that. And I mean, I can't speak for Amazon because I haven't looked at their stuff except for like briefly just now. But I would assume that they could probably do it too. If not, then they could easily refresh their SKUs with a little bit of new hardware. And up the prices like $5 and make a bajillion dollars.
I really hope that isn't the case, though, because I wouldn't be upset for the older versions of the regular Fire Stick, but I'd be pretty peeved off about the new 2020 release.
Yeah.
And knowing that this new 2020 release is the same hardware as the 2018 4K, I'd be a little pissed off about the 4K one too, if you have to go and update that. Because what was the point of using the same hardware in a 2020 release if that hardware is going to be antiquated here soon?
You do also have to think that Amazon was one of the partners on that. So you would think that they would have support for it already built in.
You would think.
I don't know.
You would think. I would hope.
This is another one of those wait and see things, so we'll just have to wait and see. All right, let's move on.
Excuse me. This one's going to be short, sweet, and to the point. So, there is... I don't think we covered it because I think it was one of our off cycles, but the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is back out. They halted it for a little bit because of blood clotting issues. It was a very, very low chance of it happening. I think it's like 6 cases in 1 million people. So it was a pretty low chance, but they did put a temporary freeze on it to investigate that a little bit further, and then decided, okay, we're just going to make sure that this is very clearly indicated that this is a possibility, and we're going to keep going. Well, apparently Johnson & Johnson has run out of their vaccine, so I guess people are getting it. I got it. I didn't really care. I just wanted to have one and done. Did you get any vaccines?
I haven't gotten it yet, no. I'm planning on getting it here eventually. I just have to find time.
time, energy, and
Yeah.
the will to do so. So they're running out, and that's great. But there's also other issues. The other thing to this story, there is a company here in the U.S., Emergent, that botched 2 different batches of 2 different vaccines because they were made in the same factory, and they accidentally cross-contaminated different parts of each vaccine into the other one. So the FDA went in there and shut them down, and they still haven't been able to reopen. And that's not helping Johnson and Johnson either, because they
Can't
were going
imagine
to
why.
use them to make it in the U.S. instead of from the Netherlands, which is where it's currently being produced. So great, good job. I guess.
Good job, guys. Good job.
I guess there won't be enough vaccines out there. Hard to say.
For those who are wondering, the 6, I don't know if the 6 in a million is necessarily a correct figure, but if we're going by that, that was a 0.0006% chance that would happen. So that's I mean, this is human lives we're talking about. So I don't say this lightly, nor do I want to minimize the fact that people had these clots and died. However, that seems like a number that's pretty well within the margin of error. So you need to shut up and go get a vaccine. If that's what you're worried about.
Yeah. I think at this point, the demand has dropped enough that those who wanted it, there's going to be those cases of people who haven't been able to, or whatever, life gets in the way. Those that wanted it, have had the chance to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So, STFU, if you're still on this god awful wear a mask, don't get near me, I'm gonna laser shoot you with a bottle of Lysol because I'm worried about my safety, and you haven't gotten the vaccine, STFU, because you've had the chance.
I feel like the people who have not gotten the vaccine are also the people that did not care if they wore a mask or not. So
Probably.
I think you're talking to an extreme minority there.
Yeah. But anybody if anybody is,
yeah,
those on that
that's your
group of
own
people
damn
that
fault.
are like very fanatical about this, but you didn't get the vaccine yet, STFU, because you've had the chance.
It's your own damn fault at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh-huh. All right, let's move on to our second to last topic for the night. Both of our last topics have to do with Tesla, although they're a little bit different. So mine is involving a fatal Tesla Model S crash, which has been, according to the NTSB, it was unlikely to involve the autopilot feature. I haven't been able to read through the article yet, but I think it's interesting that that's something that we have to worry about now. I don't understand why people think that this is like an end-all be-all for self-driving cars now. Like, Tesla Autopilot is crazy for sure, but do you really trust it enough to sit there behind the wheel and and fall asleep while you're on your way to work going like 70, 80 miles an hour? Are you really that trusting of Elon Musk's car there? Because I wouldn't be. I definitely wouldn't be.
I would be the first person to do this if I trusted it. I would love to wake my butt up take my shower, get ready, get in my car, and sleep for the next 45 minutes until I have to go into work. Because I just get in the car, go to sleep, and let it drive me the 35 minutes it takes to get to work. And then the last 10 or so minutes that I'm usually there because I get there early and just sleep that whole way. I would love to. I am not about to trust no car to do that for me.
No.
If I had a personal
Let's
chauffeur,
be real. Yes, you need a personal chauffeur, or you need to take a bus if that's what you want to do on your way to work. All right. If you want to fall asleep, there's the bus, or you can pay somebody to drive you around, or you can take an Uber.
Yep.
But you're not going to be sitting behind the wheel of your Honda Civic trying to fall asleep on your way to work. That is not going to fly, my guy. No.
Nope. I would love to. It ain't gonna happen.
No.
I'm not gonna do it. Be the first person that would if I actually trusted this nonsense.
It's not going to be anytime soon that anybody can do that. Like, for real. I mean,
No, and it
like I
scares
said,
me.
the feature is cool, but there's also safety nets built in so that you can't necessarily do this, like necessarily fall asleep. So reading the article, it doesn't necessarily say that that anybody was asleep at the wheel. I don't think. It says that a driver and a passenger entered the car at the owner's house. They traveled approximately 550 feet before departing the road on a curve, driving over the curb and hitting a drainage culvert, a raised manhole, and a tree. At this point, the Tesla's lithium-ion traction battery was damaged and caught fire, which I guess was the fatal part of the crash. NTSB said it recovered a fire-damaged restraint control module that can record data associated with vehicle speed, belt status, acceleration, and airbag deployment. This module has been taken to the NTSB's recorder laboratory for further testing. Although this specific Tesla Model S was equipped with autopilot, the NTSB investigation so far suggests that the driver-assisted system was not active. NTSB investigators could activate the traffic-aware cruise control component of autopilot on the stretch of road in question, but they were unable to activate auto steer. So maybe somebody was asleep at the wheel, but I kind of doubt it considering they traveled 550 feet, which is less than a tenth of a mile. But what happened?
I'd love to be able to fall asleep that fast. It takes you 550 feet to fall asleep. I wish I could fall asleep that fast. That's like 10 seconds. You're out. I wish I could do that. This has to be driver error. Like, there's no way.
See, so it seems to me, at least as far as the article is concerned, that what they think happened is that the driver probably put on autopilot and they were like trying to show it off, and they had it, I guess, traffic aware cruise control, they had that on, which means that they were going at a set speed, but they couldn't turn on auto steer, which means once they came up to that curve, they flew over the curb and right into a tree. So I think this is a case of somebody being reckless with their new car, trying to show it off to somebody, and then dying because of that.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd be so afraid to try this. I don't know. Like, maybe part of me would be okay to let go of the steering wheel, and maybe that's the problem here. Like, I feel like maybe because I've done it on the open road myself where there's nobody in front of me and it's not necessarily like a curvy stretch or anything. The alignment keeps the car going forward. So I could like rest my hands for a second. Oh, I've done that in traffic where I'm like coasting because there's a stoplight and my hands literally off the wheel and I'm like sitting like this, just gas and brake, because you're like not
Mm-hmm.
going anyways. I've done that before too.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the problem. Maybe it is because of the potential auto steer issue. Because I have taken, which you're not supposed to do, and I'm not advocating that you do so, but I've taken my hands off the wheel before. I don't
Yeah.
know that I trust it, but I have
I
done
wouldn't.
it. I'm not expecting it to do anything for me either, though. So, like, if I have to react, then I'm going to react.
Yeah.
And maybe they just didn't expect to have to do anything, and it just caught them off guard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I guess this
It
is
does.
another reason why I wouldn't get autopilot, because the damn thing would just kill me
It's
when I
another
least expect
reason.
it to.
It's another reason for electric cars to be in the far future for me. Not right now. I'm good.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like the idea that they were just going that far down the road. They couldn't have been going that fast, I don't think. That it caught fire because of all the damage that was caused to the underside, which just so happens to be where they put the batteries in these things, because it's supposed to be safer because of the low center of gravity. I don't know. Your gasoline engine could do the same thing. You could rip a hole in a gas line and it find a spark, and you blow up your car that way too. But damn batteries. Nothing seems safe to me with that.
Well, the 0 to 60 time is 2.3 seconds. I don't know that they were going that fast, but
I don't know.
conceivably.
I don't think autopilot would let it go that fast, that quick. Maybe. I don't know how their system works. Whatever.
I don't know.
I'm not
Let's
doing
move
it.
on.
I'm just not doing it.
Nope.
I won't buy an automatic vehicle. You'll take my steering away from me from my cold, dead hands.
God.
Or in this case, my warm, toasty hands. I'm sorry.
Okay, let's move on before we get canceled.
Good God. So, okay, now, we don't know what's going on with the fire. Something could terribly be going wrong with the car, or it could have been human stupidity. And whatever it is, besides my joke, I'm truly sorry about that. I really am. That sucks. Him, on the other hand, I think he needs to be prosecuted and arrested at this point. Because if this isn't market manipulation, I don't know what is. So, Elon, citing climate concerns, has reversed his decision about allowing you to buy a Tesla with Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Which then sent Bitcoin into a little frenzy, and it tanked.
Frenzy.
From what I understand. I don't exactly know what the numbers were because I didn't look, but I heard it tanked. So he announced Wednesday that Tesla would stop taking Bitcoin as payment for the company's electric vehicles. Change would come in less than 2 months after the automaker began accepting the cryptocurrency, and he's basing this on concerns of the carbon footprint of Bitcoin.
So, I'm looking at the chart on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
As of it looks like it was on a little bit of a downward trend anyway.
Yeah.
But at like 11 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at right around $55,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume right around when he announced, which looks like it was maybe later that night. Wow. Anyway, it shot down to 49,500. So that's what, $5,000?
10%.
Yeah, basically.
That's not necessarily a plunge. It's not great, but all of the cryptocurrencies have done worse than that. up and down.
True, but I mean, this
in the
was
past.
also based on what he said.
I know, and that's the problem, because he not only announced a few months ago that they had a 1 billion with a B dollar stake in the currency, which then prompted a huge surge in the currency. Now he's reversing his decision about allowing the cars to be bought with it, which then caused a plummet, if you want to use that word. I don't know if 10% is necessarily the plummet, but he's done things like this in the past, about tweeting certain things and then not necessarily following through with them. And we somewhat speculated on that then, and I was like, I don't know if this is market manipulation or not. It's hard to say with Bitcoin because it's so unregulated, but what do you think? I'm on the side of saying he's kind of doing stuff he shouldn't be doing here.
Yeah.
Intentionally or not.
I'm thinking that it might be a little bit of market manipulation, but at the same time, until we see something different, this doesn't seem like it's benefiting him at all, because he got praised for buying Bitcoin because he kind of legitimized the whole cryptocurrency movement. I mean, that's been ongoing for a while.
Yeah.
But there hasn't really been a major company that's kind of bought into it up until this point with Tesla. Plus, they're making money off of Bitcoin trading. So it kind of hurts them that he announced that they're not dealing with it anymore as far as like purchases for Teslas go,
Yeah, the only I guess you'd need hard proof.
Yeah, until we see something that says that he or they benefited from Bitcoin going down for some reason, like maybe they traded off to a different cryptocurrency right before the announcement or something like that. It's hard to say.
I think that's what
he definitely manipulated the market, but whether or not it's illegal really depends on if he/they benefited from it or not, Because, I mean, there's outside factors that manipulate the market all the time. Whether or not somebody benefits from them or not, how that whole thing happens is what makes it legal or illegal.
Yeah.
And in this case, I don't think we have enough to say that, yes, this is illegal, or no, it's not. At least at this point.
I can buy that. So, let's say this for concrete evidence. It was 2 months ago. So let's say February. He buys Bitcoin at such and such price, knowing full and well he's going to allow it to be bought and used as currency for his cars, inevitably driving it up, assuming that would drive it up. It'd kind of have to be a chance that it'd drive it up, but that's a pretty reasonable thing to say.
Yeah.
He then knowingly sells it off and or trades it for something else before this announcement, taking the profit that he created by saying he'd take this, and then sold it knowing that the next day he was going to say, well, we're not doing this anymore. With actual financial transactions that show this is exactly what he did.
Yeah, if that happened, then yeah, obviously. Okay. But the thing with this being a publicly traded company now is that they're going to have records for all of that. So I would hope that their intentions are quote unquote pure. They're good. It's for a good reason. It's for the environment, because everybody knows that Bitcoin mining and all that does take up a lot of energy. It takes up a ton of power. So if that's the reasoning behind it, fine.
Yeah.
And I feel like if there was some stuff going on, then we're going to find out when they do their quarterly stuff anyway. So,
yeah. Yeah, this is true. This is fair. Honestly, I think the best thing that he could do to prove that this isn't what happened, honestly, is if they do have holdings in Bitcoin, the best thing that they could do is show that they held on to them through the quote unquote plummet
Yeah.
and did not let that affect anything that they did, whether they bought and or sold. Just held steady. This is what we got. This is what we had.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do anything with it. Then fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put money into it anyways because it'll go up $50,000 and then it'll tank 6 months from now and it'll be back to
Mm-hmm.
10. We've seen it go up and down before, and God knows it's probably going to do it again.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
if we knew when it was going to happen, we'd be making bank right about now.
Oh yeah. All right, let's move on to our discussion topics. David wanted to talk about world supply issues. So, did you bring anything specific for that?
It was just a general thought. So, we've talked about it in this episode, I think, and we've talked about it in previous episodes. We know that you can't buy anything. God, what's the word? CPUs and GPUs, semiconductor. You can't buy
Yeah.
anything semiconductor related. Everything's in a shortage. Whether or not it be supply constraints, production constraints, just outright demand overreaching supply. Who knows? There's tons of things that you can get into onto that. And who knows if any of it's true. There's conspiracies out there that are saying that they're doing this on purpose. They're selling directly to the miners. They're limiting supply artificially. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not getting into that. But then it started having real world effects on other things. Cars are being made. They can't make the chips to put into the cars. So they're literally sitting around on empty lots and they cannot move because they're not completed yet and they're waiting on these chips. You can't get lumber. Lumber went up so much that it's added like an extra $36,000 for the average home on just cost of the lumber. So an extra $36,000 just in lumber cost, on top of everything else that went up that you can't get, such as paint issues because of the issues in Texas. The chemical processing plants froze. They've been shut down. It's taking a while to get everything rolling again, and nobody can get that kind of stuff. Container shortages, everything. Some of it's the coronavirus pandemic. Some of it is natural disasters. And some of it is just god-awful supply and demand issues. Like, what can you win anymore? What hasn't been affected? Oh, and then the gas happened.
Oh yeah.
And then the ships that got stuck in canals and you can't get stuff shipped that has been made. And can we just stop?
Humans are a wonderful species.
And then you brought stuff. So
The specific
what did
thing
you bring?
that I brought was about labor shortages, although it's more of a joke than anything, because I don't know if you've been seeing it,
I'm
but
sure I
I have been
have.
seeing a ton of like Facebook posts or like Reddit posts or stuff on TikTok.
Lay it on me.
There has been so like so many notes everywhere. Like you drive up to a Wendy's, there's a note on there saying, "Hey, we all walked out. There's nobody here to give you your burgers. See you later." So
Yep.
let me pull up this one.
Oh
This
gosh.
is Westboro somewhere. Westboro or Wadesboro rather. I don't know which state this is in, but the city is Westboro. Their sign says, we all quit, closed, by Elisa, love Wendy's, smiley face.
Yeah.
This seems to be all related to the $15 minimum wage thing, which I have said, I don't know if I've said it on this podcast, but I've talked about it to people that I am all for. I don't know why people think that paying people a living wage is going to make everything go up exponentially. You're already paying like $12 for a burger. Nobody's going to make you pay more for a burger because they've got to pay the people inside more. Because
There,
if they did, you wouldn't buy a burger anymore.
I think there's truth to that. If, and this is the if. This is the caveat. If you went and took today's, because what you're taking is today's minimum wage and you're doubling it. I think that would be the case if you did that. Had it kept up in the last 2 decades, everything else already doubled and tripled.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's
That's
gone
what
up.
That's what I'm saying, though. If
But the wages didn't.
If minimum wage had kept up with everything else, nobody would want a $15 minimum wage because we probably be at more than that anyway.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter is, nobody can support themselves on what is it, $7.25 an hour for a 40-hour job,
Yep.
unless you're sleeping in a cardboard box somewhere or still living with your parents. There's no way you can survive on $7.25 an hour and actually have a decent quality of life.
Let's be honest. You can't even do it with 12. And I'm hard pressed to see where you can do it at 15. And I say this as somebody who is 2 cents short of the $15. I'm currently at $14.98. And I only have one expense that I shouldn't have if you wanted to go down the, well, you're just not financially sound and you make stupid financial decisions route of the argument. A car payment. Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I had to get a freaking car because the one I had didn't or wasn't going to make it another few years before I could buy one outright with cash. So, okay, I got a car payment. Big whoop. If I got rid of the car payment right now, at my current take-home pay, because I actually save for retirement, I actually pay for my health care. So don't go down that road either, because I'm doing everything else you're supposed to do. I'd be taking home $1,400 a month. Take home. After everything else has been taken care of. Where am I going to get a house or an apartment for that kind of money and still be able to put food in my belly, put gas in my car so I can go back to work and continue the cycle over and over again?
Let's be
cheapest
real.
rent is like $1,200 to $1,400.
You're going to be finding a 500 square foot shit box in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
That's what you would get. And I mean, yes, it is a place to live. Granted, that's nice. But does anybody really want to live there?
No.
No. Should anybody have to live there?
I'm not asking to live in the life of luxury. I don't live in the life of luxury now.
Nobody is asking to live in a 5-star hotel, okay? All people need is a decent place to live, free of pests.
Yes.
With running water and electricity and air conditioning / heat, depending on where you live in the country.
Yes.
Again, I don't need a gold-plated bathtub. I don't need a bidet in my toilet, although, to be honest, those are pretty inexpensive and I could probably get an attachment if I wanted to. But that's besides the point. I don't need 12-ply toilet paper. I don't need to have steak every night. I need a decent place to live with enough money left over to put food on the table for my family. And if $15 an hour minimum wage can do that, fabulous. And like David said, more than likely, that's not even necessarily going to be enough, but it is a damn sight better than $7.25 an hour.
Yeah.
Because as much as $1,400 a month sucks, just imagine how much little would be left over after all of that at minimum wage.
Oh, I know exactly how much it's actually. I don't even know exactly how much that would be because I didn't save for retirement and I didn't pay for health care. When I made minimum wage, because I did there for a short while right out of high school before I got a different job, guess what my take-home pay was?
Oh, I'm sure it was probably like $200-$300 every 2 weeks. So what, $600?
$250 a week.
$250 a week.
$250 a week. That's it.
Oof.
$250 a week. Take home. 40 hours a week. $250 a week pays for my car payment after 2 checks with money left over. And then
a little bit of money.
The other $500 would easily be consumed by gas, food, electric, rent. Where do you get the money for that? I just named 4 things that would easily consume $1,000, and I've got $500. So what do you do? You can't. So what do? I live with my parents and I sock away as much money for retirement as I possibly can, because eventually I will. But you basically can't do it as a single adult.
Yeah,
and I don't even want to get into the conversation of single adult with kids.
The only reason I am living, especially now with the job that I have now, the only way that we have been able to survive is because my wife also works.
Yep.
If she was stay at home, we would be SOL. I mean, we wouldn't be SOL. We would be living with her parents again, which it was fine. It was a living arrangement, but it's not something that I want to do again, okay? We'll put it that way. I very much enjoy having my own space with my own family to do whatever, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not asking to be able to walk around the house naked all the time, but do I want to spend every moment not at work with my in-laws as much as I love my mother-in-law?
Honestly, you'd have to work 2 jobs anyways to even have a chance, so you wouldn't have to spend much time with your family because you'll always be at work. Problem solved, Ben.
That's probably true, but still. Yeah, no, thank you.
So the labor shortage is real, and honestly, okay, some of it is because of that. Some of it is just because they're getting paid more on unemployment than they would be at a job, which, okay,
especially
fine,
right now, yeah.
That's part of the problem, but honestly, that's 2 problems. Part of it is too low of wage. The other part of it is the government did that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't have made it as high as you did. Those who lost their job because of the pandemic that could have found a equivalent paying job and or better, that still haven't done it because unemployment is higher, it's kind of on them. It's kind of their fault. And I think they're the ones that are somewhat the problem.
Yeah.
But then everybody should honestly, be paid a better wage.
Let's be real. If you were on unemployment right now, you didn't have to work, you could do whatever you wanted to, and you still had money coming in to do what you needed to do, would you really feel motivated to go out and find a job? Like, be completely honest. After a while, personally, I would get bored, but the money thing wouldn't really be a motivating factor.
If it's more money, no.
Exactly.
Like if I can't find a job that pays more money, no. If it's a job that pays the same amount of money, after a while, I would get bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
But if I'm getting a job that I can't, if I can't find a job and I literally get like a third of what unemployment pays me or half of what unemployment pays me, but I need that money that unemployment is getting me because I have bills, I need that to sustain my life, I wouldn't go back to work either, honestly.
Yeah.
If that was the issue. I don't know, it sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Sucks.
It's all kind of part of the same problem. You know, corporations should be paying people a living wage. And the fact of the matter is, if you lost your job during the pandemic and you're on unemployment now and you're making more than you were at your job, that's the company's fault. You know? They should have been paying you more to begin with, and there should be people out there willing to pay you more for the same job. That's just it, you know? Corporations are cheap.
It just didn't keep up. That's the problem. Everything else has gone up. Unemployment hasn't gone up, I think, since 2000 not unemployment. Minimum wage, I don't think has gone up since 2007. I think that's the last time they upped it.
Probably.
I think. And it might be a little bit earlier than that. How much has everything gone up since 2007? I guarantee you, if you looked at an inflation calculator, everything's gone up at least 20-30%, if not more. What is the inflation since 2007?
So if we're looking at 2007, so roughly 30% inflation.
July 24th, 2009. It went from $6.55 to $7.25 per
So
hour.
2009, you said?
Yep, 2009. So it hasn't gone up in 10
Still
plus years.
25%.
12 years. So had it gone up 1% every year for 12 years, it at least would be 12% higher than it is now. If it had gone up a measly 2% every year, it would have kept up.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what most corporations that I've noticed are paying about per raise? It's about 2%. For the ones that aren't paying enough, quote unquote, it's about 1 to 2% a year they give you in a raise. So if this had just kept up, we wouldn't have had a problem. Why is this so difficult to understand?
Oh,
my burger's going to cost $20. No, it's not.
No. Your burger already costs $12, dude.
If it's really that bad, they'll freaking put an automated robot there that you order from. And they'll just won't have that job. Which sucks, but then they'll have another job.
All right, let's move on from this somewhat depressing topic. We are going to go to our last segment of the show.
Please do.
Which is the trailers. So how this segment works, if you guys haven't been through it before, we're going to watch the trailer. We're going to let you know whether we would see it in the theaters, wait for review, wait for a rental, or not see it at all. Just based on the trailer, you know. Obviously, we might still see these movies no matter what, but we're basing our rating purely on the trailer, you know, because trailers are supposed to be attention grabbers. So, yeah, first one we've got is for The Misfits.
Caught me a little off guard. I was just notified about this.
440, open 312.
Where's Pace?
We've searched top to bottom. Richard Pace isn't here.
Hey!
Let's roll.
Let's go!
My, would you look at this?
You don't have to come with us.
The name's Ringo. That's Violet. My man Wick over there. The con artist formerly known as Prince.
Let's cut to the chase here, shall we?
We got the same piece of crap on our shoes. Warner Schultz. Owns prisons in the Middle East.
Facility state of the art. One of the most modern prisons on Earth.
His Millions of dollars worth of gold in one of those locations.
We can try and stop that gold from financing terrorism.
Steal their gold, stop the terrorists. Let's go to prison, shall we? Oh, and I only fly first class. Why isn't anyone saying anything?
That seemed thoroughly underwhelming.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't really have an impact on me at all, I guess. It seemed fine. It looked to me like they're trying to do with Pierce Brosnan what they did with Liam Neeson in his older age. They're trying to remake him as this big budget action star, which, granted, I know he was already James Bond. I know he was an action star, but that was what? A good 30, 35 something years ago, right? How long ago was it?
90s. Late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay,
GoldenEye came out in 95.
25, 30 years.
And the last one was Die Another Day, which was 2002.
Pierce Brosnan is 67.
I'm
right
not
now.
disagreeing with your assessment of trying to...
Liam Neeson is 68.
Yeah.
So I think the comparison is fairly apt in this case.
Yeah, which I'm not going to disagree with you. I think your analogy is fine.
The only reason I'm saying it's underwhelming is, I don't know, it seems, I like some of the actors in it. Nick Cannon I can do without. I think he's a little bit overplayed because I've seen him hosting like literally everything at this point. But Pierce Brosnan is cool. I can't remember the dude's name, but he was in The Incredible Hulk, and I loved him in that movie. The bad guy in this movie. I love him as an actor. And he was also in that TV series Lie to Me, which was fabulous. I don't know. Just didn't seem like... I don't want to say it didn't seem good, but I don't know. It didn't get me hyped or anything like that.
Okay, what's your rating?
I'd probably wait for a review on this one.
Oof, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
It's like, it's a solid, it's on like the razor's edge between a rental and a review. So it's not like I hated the trailer or anything like that. I just,
Okay.
I'd have to wait and see. I really would.
Okay. All right. I guess that's fair. Honestly, I thought you were going to go with me on this one. I feel like this would have been a classic. You and I go see it in the theaters, 100%. Feels like a Taken movie to me, kind of, sort of. I loved your Liam Neeson reference there. I don't know. I felt like this would have been a you and me go bro out type deal. I definitely would at least see it on rental. Maybe not the theaters.
Yeah.
Like I said, it'd have to be one of those things where you and I go bro out for a little bit.
So you're
otherwise it'd probably be a rate.
Taking me out of the picture.
Wait
you
for
would
rental.
say, okay, that's fair. I could see that. I can understand where you're coming from. I think if I still lived up there and it was one of those days where we didn't have anything to do, this is definitely something we could just drive and go see. I could definitely see that. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just too busy reminiscing about the old days. I miss the old days.
All the movie theaters have closed around you, so it's gonna kind of be hard to do that.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't even know if the ones around me have opened up yet.
I don't know. That's why we need vacation.
Yeah, I know. All right, our next trailer is for Venom: Let There Be Carnage, which is the sequel to Venom.
Do you you watched Venom, right?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the whole thing yet. I was gonna go watch it the other day, but you can only rent it. It's not on anything for free. So.
I say either. You guys say either. I say neither. And I say neither. Neither. I
Neither. Let's call the whole thing off. Ta-da! Ketchup.
Excuse me?
Yummy.
Good evening, Eddie.
Hey, Mrs. Chen.
Good evening, Venom.
Function Hall, Mrs. Chen.
He says hi.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
I've been thinking about you, Eddie.
Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number.
Because you and I are the same. Every decision we ever make. Who do we leave behind? And how do we leave them? Waiting in the darkness for the rescuer who never comes. Welcome back, Eddie Brock. It's been a long time. Miss you so much.
That I'm excited for. I would go see that in the theaters. I still need to see the first one. And I don't know why I haven't yet, other than the fact that I have to rent it. But I'm eventually going to see it. And then I'm going to watch this. Because this looks good. Especially the design for Carnage. Mwah! Yes. Love it.
It's got its funny moments. I'll give it that. It's funny as all get out. I'm torn between rental. The only reason why I say this, though, is because I've only seen bits and pieces of the first one like you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how vested I am into this.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's either going to be a rental or a review, but I don't know. This would also be one of those brow out moments, too. I know for sure you'd end up dragging me to see this, like you drug me into so many different things.
Like all the superhero movies, yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point it was more a mutual drag each other to the movies type deal.
After a couple of those movies, it didn't really take long for you to get into it.
What persuasion is needed anymore?
Zero. Absolutely zero.
I don't know. It looks good. I like the trailer. I don't know. Probably wait for a rental on that one.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Now we've got the second trailer for The Batman, the Batman movie starring Robert Pattinson.
Don't start what you can't finish.
This guy's crazy.
If you are justice, please do not lie. What is the price for your blind eye?
Don't really know how much of a trailer that was, but
my complaint exactly.
Yeah, but I did like their take on the Batmobile. That looked pretty cool.
I was going to say the same thing. It's like, no. I know a lot of people like the Dark Knight trilogy.
The Tumbler, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that. That's a badass design. But it's really, really high tech and futuristic in an almost unattainable way, sort of. Whereas this looks like kind of like classic, 1960s, 1970s, like Dodge Charger, Challenger, Ford Mustang, that mean muscle car of the 60s, 70s look.
It's a muscle car with a freaking rocket engine strapped on the back of it.
Exactly.
It looks so cool.
I love it.
Oh man, I love it. See, I think it's going to be an interesting take because we're not seeing this Bruce Wayne who's got it. I mean, Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins doesn't necessarily have it all together. When even when he starts to become the Batman. But I feel like this take is going to be even more down that path. You know, he's still very raw, doesn't necessarily know quite what he's doing yet. So we're seeing the prototype of the prototype of the prototype for everything. And we're not getting straight to the tumbler. We've got the 1969 Dodge Charger with the rocket engine welded to the back first. And maybe we'll get to the tumbler eventually. But right now I'm cool with the muscle car.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Everything else about the trailer didn't really inspire me, but I gotta watch that first trailer again because that one was really good.
Yeah. Jeez.
This
is honestly going to be a wait for you to review for me.
I would say that this is a see it in the theaters for me, 100%. If it's got Batman, I'm there.
I know you're sold on it.
Except for Superman v Batman, I guess I couldn't bring myself to go see that. Although let's be honest, the amount of times that I've seen a movie like the day that it comes out, I can count on one hand because we didn't even do that for Endgame, did we? I know we came close.
I don't think we could. That's the thing, though. I don't think we've ever been able to.
Yeah. It's always been on. They always have those movies coming out at midnight on a Thursday, which is such a weird time.
Yeah.
So,
and neither of us were about ready to do that.
No, I can dodge spoilers for a day or two before I go see a movie if I really want to. So, Anyway, yeah, I'd go see this in the theaters. This looks pretty interesting. All right, let's move on to our next one, Profile.
Amy, you're the best journalist we have. I need something that's going to get people talking now.
I might have something. I've been investigating a story about young women being recruited by extremists over social media.
This is brilliant.
When I grow up.
How'd you make contact?
I created a fake profile, posing as a young convert to lure one of the recruiters to me. I'm going to share my screen. It's kind of hot.
Do you think?
The IT guys can record your desktop.
Amy, tattoos are prohibited.
Can you see the tattoo?
No. Ready to go.
He's calling.
And I'm going to record it all.
Assalamu alaikum, my sister. Tell me about you. You're beautiful.
In the beginning, he would be testing the waters. He's a hunter. He wants to seduce me first.
I love you!
Only then will he give me a guide into the recruitment process.
Come here. I'll give you everything you need. A whole new life, a very happy one. You have to believe me, it's paradise.
You're brave to admire in a man. Can I ask you what your job is?
I don't want to talk about it over the internet. There's journalists everywhere.
Journalists. And they've got no morals. They're vultures, you know?
Exactly. You're full of surprises, aren't you?
So this trailer is a couple of months, or like a month or so old. Can't believe we didn't see this before. I would 100% go see this in the theaters. This looks really good.
The only thing that gives me pause to hesitate
is the whole screen thing.
Because of Unfriended.
Listen, okay, so I'm with you. But the thing that turned me around on this whole movie in a screen genre is a movie called Searching.
Okay.
If you can find that somewhere, actually, let me see if it's streaming anywhere.
Because we had such high hopes for Unfriended.
Yeah, Unfriended.
I can't remember if we saw it in the theater. I'm pretty sure we did. I feel like that's the only reason why we both saw it.
We definitely saw it in the theaters.
Okay, I thought we did. In fact, yeah, because we even made a vlog out of it. It just did not live up to our expectations at all. Like, we both went out of that kind of disappointed. So
you might be able to find it on YouTube TV because it's not streaming. I swear, it's a stupid piece of crap. It's not streaming anywhere without a premium subscription or a rental. So
Of course.
you might check there first.
It's called what?
Searching.
Searching.
Yeah, it's very, very, very good. I so enjoyed it. Such a good movie for this screen or film on a screen genre. So that movie is the only reason why I think this one is going to be good, because Searching was fabulous.
Okay.
It was so good.
Okay.
Both of the Unfriended movies, hot garbage. Do not watch. Yes, it's Unfriended Dark Web. I don't think you saw that one, but I saw it, and it was bad.
Nope. I don't think I'd give it a shot after Unfriended, though. So
can't say I blame you. I don't know why I gave it a shot, but Searching is good. I would go see Searching before you give a real hard rating on this one. But for now, I'd go see it in the theaters. What'd you say? Wait for review?
Yeah.
That's fair. It's fair. I can, like I said, I can see where you're coming from with Unfriended. Because if I hadn't seen Searching before this, I'd be like, I mean, yeah, this looks good, but Unfriended looked pretty interesting too, and then that turned out to be hot garbage.
Okay, so if we had to go by the trailer alone, and I guess that's what we should do. If I had to go by the trailer alone, I would wait for a rental.
Yeah.
But I'm so skeptical of this genre, period, that I'm basing it off of Unfriended. Fair or not fair, whatever, as I wait for a review.
I think a little caveat with this segment needs to be, yes, we're going to be basing our opinions off of the trailer, but that doesn't mean we're not going to let past experiences with other movies not inform our decisions or our ratings on this either. So we're not going to, just because David hasn't seen Searching doesn't mean that he doesn't have the right to give this the wait for review rating or whatever, you know? Yeah. I would recommend that he go watch it, but it's not like I'm gonna
know it was the thing, so I mean,
yeah. But it's not like I'm gonna like run him over with a truck or something if he doesn't, you know? I think this looks good, but that's because I have the experience from Searching. David is a little skeptical, but that's because he only has experience with Unfriended, which is like
reason enough.
Yeah, there's not very many movies in this genre yet. No. So you're gonna have limited experience anyway, but I have high hopes for it.
It looked good though. I will say this. It did look good.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got two more. Our next one is going to be The Protege.
Most people are good. Some people are bad. But you're the rare gift. So get in and get out. You could always think on your feet anyway.
Not so much tonight.
We sent away so many prematurely. Either by my hand or through you.
We never sent anyone away who didn't have it coming. But we all have to pay for our sins eventually.
Meet you downstairs in the bar and her. Your rolled up sleeves in your skull t-shirt. You say why?
She's not gonna run. She's gonna lick her wounds, and she's coming after us.
And sniff me out like I was Tanqueray.
Someone killed a friend of mine because of a contract he completed years ago.
Oh, yeah?
I must say, I am happy to see that Michael Keaton is in this as well. He has experienced such a renaissance with his career lately. He's been in the Spider-Man movie. He did The Birdman a while ago. He was in that movie The Founder about the whole McDonald's story. His career has been going on the up here lately. This looks good. I'm excited for this. I would probably go see this in the theater.
I would 100% go see this in the theater.
Well, there we go. I don't think there's any discussion needed there.
I like the actors. The trailer was good. It had its funny moments. It drew you in. It captivated your attention. And it looked like a damn good movie. So, done.
There we go. All right. Our last one for the night is for Those Who Wish Me Dead.
Why'd they put you in a fire tower?
Well, I'm just lucky, I guess.
I read the wind wrong. I should have gone to them.
Then you'd be dead too.
That's our job.
Hey! Stop! I'm not gonna hurt you. I want to see where the blood's coming from. It's not my blood.
You in trouble? Anyone else in trouble?
My dad said if anything happened, I should find someone I can trust. Are you someone I can trust?
We promise absolutes. Act accordingly.
Those men that came for your father. Did you see their faces? That's them.
Cut you down.
Give me something else to worry about.
I must say, this one is very much in the same vein as the last one. Got John Barenthal, got Angelina Jolie, and that other dude who is the bad guy that I can't remember his name of, but I've seen him in other things and I like him. I'm good with this. I'd go see this in the theater.
So I had to stop myself from watching this morning because they released it on HBO Max. I almost watched it.
Yeah.
Really sad I didn't watch it.
David, there's always time.
There's always tomorrow, so I would go see this in the theater. This looks really good. I like this story. I almost didn't recognize Angelina, though. I think I've seen her too many times with,
she normally doesn't
heavy
have
prosthetics or
bangs. At least in what I've seen her in.
Yeah. Yeah. So she threw me off for a second. I was like, oh, that is her.
Mm-hmm.
Took me a minute, but... Whew.
All right. Well, I think that's where we're going to leave this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to leave a rating on whatever podcasting platform you happen to be listening on. And, we'll see you guys next episode for our scaled and icy review.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah. Later.
Bye, peeps. Thanks for listening to this episode of Podcast Period. This episode was hosted and produced by Ben, co-hosted and edited by David. You can contact Ben on Twitter at BenPlaysVidges. That's Ben Plays, VIDYAS. And you can contact David on Twitter at Car6by16. If you'd like to chat with us about any of the topics on this episode, you can hit the show up at Podcast Period on Twitter, or shoot us an email at podcastperiodpodcast@gmail.com. That's all for this episode. We'll see you next time.
This was a Nerdgasm Podcast production.
Well, that was another in a long series of regrettable life choices.
Served at nerdgasmpodcast.com.